everyone for being on the call today. I'm excited to be able to share some thoughts with you and learn some things from you also. Sorry about last week. I had a child I had to go and pick up from school who was ill and take them to urgent care. They're okay. They're still at home sick, but so they might interrupt, but hopefully this will all go well. I was reading this week an autobiography of the most amazing person, and I wanted to share a little bit about her. She was actually the first female self-made millionaire in the US. Does anyone know who that was?
Oprah?
No, you'd think she was the first billionaire for sure, wasn't she? But this lady, okay, she was born in 1867.
Oh, goodness.
1867. And you know, when I learned this about her, I thought this is incredible because I have never heard of her name before. But what an incredible thing that she'd been able to accomplish at a time when women were just never had those opportunities, which just made it all the more incredible to me. Okay, her name was Madam C.J. Walker. She was born in 1867, and I'm just going to share a little bit of her background, and then I'm going to show you a really short video about her life. But I just think this is incredibly inspiring. Her parents and siblings were all born when slavery was a thing, so they were all enslaved. She was the first child in her family to be born into freedom once Abraham Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Her mother died when she was 5, and her father died a year later. So at age 7, she was left an orphan. At age 10, she became a domestic servant and had only 3 months of formal education to her name. At age 14, she got married to escape the abuse that she was receiving from her brother-in-law. She was living with her sister at the time. At age 17, she had her first child, and 2 years later, her husband died. So at the age of 20, she was a widow, an orphan with 1 child. In 1888, she and her daughter moved to St. Louis, where 3 of her brothers lived. She had 3 brothers who were barbers in that area, and so she moved there to be close to them. While she was there, she worked as a laundress, earning barely $1 a day. She also struggled with severe scalp ailments due to the chemicals that were used on African-American hair at the time. It was just really bad for her hair. And I guess the work that she was doing, and also just her diet, she didn't have the time nor the money to look after herself. And in 1904, this is where I think it gets really interesting. In 1904, she became an agent selling products for Annie Turnbow Malone. Okay. Sales were difficult at that time because the products that they sold were for African-American hair, and that community was largely ignored at the time. So it was an uphill battle from the very start. At age 37, she started her own line of hair care selling door to door. And she's kind of credited with being the before runner for Avon and where Avon came from, which I think is incredible because we don't hear her name enough. I have a short video that I want to show about it. And then I want to talk about the reason why I share this is because I want to talk about how she was able to do the things that she did under immense difficulty and challenges that faced her, not only because she was a Black woman, but because she was a woman, and what it was that enabled her to stick to her goals of the things she wanted to achieve through all of those things that were happening in her life. Okay, I'm going to share a screen. I want to share a video. Let me see if I can bring this up. Let's make this full screen. Can everyone see that okay? Yep.
When Madam Walker started her company in 1906, there were very few women who were in business. She and Helena Rubinstein and Elizabeth Arden were women who were all in the same boat. They were trying to develop an industry. People didn't even take them seriously. She traveled door to door, town to town, teaching individuals in churches and in people's parlors and wherever she could. And she could see that ultimately it really wasn't as much about the hair care product, though that was important in an era when women didn't have access to those products, but it also was very much about empowering women and about helping women become economically independent. So the more she trained women and the more she taught them to train other women, she was developing a national and really international network of women who were Walker agents. Those women could see not only were they able to transform themselves, but they also were able to make money that they could contribute to their churches, to pay tuition for their children to go to school, to buy homes. And this then became really the goal. When I look at her life, I think it's fabulous that she became a millionaire. Stunning that she became a millionaire. But for me, the more lasting legacy is that she empowered people and that she used her money to make a difference in her community and to show other people their ability to make a difference in their communities.
Hmm.
This is it, folks. We need you to send a donation to
No,
help
that's
elect.
not on. It doesn't have it. You don't need to hear from Barack Obama right now. No political statements in this call. So I would love to hear your thoughts on Madam C.J. Walker and that video that you just watched. Anything that just stood out to you, I would love to hear your thoughts on her, on what stood out to you about her and that video. If anyone has any.
It's incredible. I mean, it looks like she was building a network marketing business.
Exactly. I loved it when I was learning more about her. I was like, this is awesome. Why don't we know more about this woman who is just incredible and is in the Guinness Book of Records as the first female millionaire in the US? I love that so much. Thanks, Sherry. Let's go with Sue. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, it was the exponential growth on the pictures. You know, I mean, like Sherry said, network marketing, it's like, oh my goodness. But you know, it sounds like she was talking from the heart, something that was important to her, something that she knew other people needed, you know, especially women and Black women. But you know, she was, you know, I'm thinking she was just doing all this from the heart. You know, these were things that she knew were important to many people, and she was going to do something about it. And it just grew. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
She was really living her why, wasn't she? Awesome. Thank you, Sue. Barbara Richmond.
I found it to be a very inspiring video, because she was right from the beginning, she realized there was a need. She created something to fill that need. And then she immediately started to share it with others who could benefit from what she had developed, having absolutely no idea at the time how huge it would become, and that it was really the benchmark of what we're doing now, a century and more later.
Yeah.
We
can see
heartfelt,
some
heart
comparisons going.
spent, heart support. Yeah, she didn't know what she was creating. And I think the very fact that she didn't know, she came across as being extremely authentic, genuine, and people could relate to her.
I love that. And I agree 100%. I think that genuineness and authenticity was what really probably grew her business a lot more than the products that she was sharing. It was who she was as a person.
The attitude.
Yeah. Yeah. Maggie?
Okay, what struck me was so lower my hand. The product has to be good. And it was, and it met a need. That's one thing. And the thing that impressed me the most was her vision beyond that, was to empower people, mostly women, but to empower people to be able to create something in collaboration, in community with others, that was life altering, not only for their hair, but for their families, for their communities, for their churches, and that it was that vision bigger than herself that really was the driving force. And she obviously was authentic and probably very charismatic. And, you know, the fact that she had overcome so many obstacles in her life would be an inspiration to others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was where I believe her drive and her will to succeed it came from. Some of these quotes here, I just want to read from the chat. Other than the, I'll fix the hot cocoa and I'll sit by the fireplace of our talk for the ski trip. Absolutely, I will be there drinking the hot cocoa and sitting by the fireplace. But Sherry said she was teaching women to be empowered and inspire others. And then Judy said her resilience and ability to overcome obstacles, still a situation I face today. I believe we all face that today. But it's women like this who we can really look towards and be inspired by, regardless of our circumstances, and regardless of the challenges that we face, that we can make it happen. And I can't imagine a more difficult environment that she succeeded in. I don't think we have a difficult time today as what she had. And I know as women, we all have this incredible resilience gifted to us that we can make things work. Some of the people that wrote about her life, I read into some of the things that they said about why she was able to really succeed in this time. Is kind of the comments that we've all discussed today. It said, how was she able to do this? One, it was her belief in the high quality products. And I actually researched this. You can still get her products today in Walmart. I went on the Walmart website because eventually the brand was bought out once she passed away. Her daughter ran the business, but then eventually it was sold. And their products today are still in Walmart and still able to be sold. I think Sephora bought her products as well. And I love the fact that the quality of the products, even though they're no longer sold by her herself, the quality of the products have remained and they're still being deemed worthy enough to be sold like couple of hundred years later. That just tells me the quality products they were. She also had a gift for marketing. So she was able to get those products out there. And it started with door to door, as we know, a lot of network marketing companies, you know, the in-homes, the things that we do, they were at the time, they were the most successful way to get things into people's hands and get people using the products and having experiences with the products. It was also her ability to lead and inspire others. And we've discussed that as well. How she was able to, I think the way that she was able to lead and inspire others was because she wanted the best for other people around her, not just for herself. And I believe as women, we naturally do this. We do want others to have the same beneficial experiences through being entrepreneurs as we are having. One of the things that I read about her as well, which was really inspiring to me, was that it said at the time when she had a group of 20,000 women. Can you imagine that number? 20,000 women who were part of her academy at the time it was called her academy. And it said at the time, women, Black women at that time, obviously were not paid hardly anything. But when she started this business, Black women within her business were earning $15 a day. And the regular uneducated white man was earning $1 a day. So at that time,
Wow.
$1 a day for the uneducated white man, $15 a day for the Black woman working within her network, which in and of itself would be incredibly inspiring to see. And then lastly, she knew her audience and the needs that they had. And I think this is really important as well. Do we know our audience and the needs that they have? Because it's in understanding these things that we're really going to be able to grow our businesses, not just through our customers, but also through builders. The people, the women that she brought onto her business were all women who saw the opportunity of what they could achieve. They saw her achieving it, and she inspired them and empowered them to be able to do the same. And I love that. She never lost sight of her why, even with the incredible challenges and losses and setbacks. One of my favorite quotes that I've known for a long time, but I didn't know who it came from, but I learned who it came from yesterday. It was Ella Wheeler Wilcox. She said in a poem, I don't know, does anyone know this poem? It's called Will. Has anyone heard of it before? It's a whole poem, but I'm just going to read I'm just going to quote one little section of it. And it says, you might have heard it when you hear me say it. There is no chance, no destiny, no fate that can circumvent or hinder or control the firm resolve of a determined soul. And I believe that Madam C.J. Walker was a determined soul. She was not going to let anything stand in her way of achieving what she wanted to achieve. And I often remind myself of that is if our why is strong enough in what we want to achieve, nothing will stand in our way. Our determination, our will, our resilience will get us to that point of where we aspire to be. Does anyone have any thoughts that they would like to share before we move on? I would love to.
I don't know if you've seen in the chat that we're asking for the links. I'm going to
Okay.
be
I will
traveling
send.
to St. Louis next week, and I want to share this. It's so brilliant.
I will send you all the links that I have. And also there is actually, if you wanted to go look at it, I've not seen it yet, but Octavia Spencer is actually, if you look on Netflix, there's actually a movie about her that came out, I think a couple of years ago.
That I thought it was that.
Yeah, it came out a couple of years ago. I haven't watched it yet, but when I was researching her more, I saw that it was on Netflix. So that would be great. I did read about the Netflix show that there was a lot of things that people were kind of not happy about because it wasn't done like truthfully, like they, as movie makers do, they put a little bit more of a spin on things to make them a little bit more watchable. So that's why I haven't advertised it yet, because I haven't seen it, and so I don't want to advertise something that I don't think is true to it. But it might just be a good fun watch to get a general background. I think in the show they made it a big deal about the lady who she originally was an agent for, her first. There's kind of a bit of a drama between them two, because she said she stole my product and things like that, which was never shown to be truthful. So I think they focus more on that, and I wanted to focus more on her resilience as a business builder. But yeah, that is on Netflix, and I will send all the links that I've found. And there's a couple of podcasts on here, which are amazing. And I mean, if you go into YouTube as well, you can watch a ton of videos. There's so many. And I wanted to show another one that was only 15 minutes long, but I was like, oh, it's too long for the call. But it just goes into great detail, and I love it so much. So question, how can we be a support system in empowering other female business owners? What can we do? In what ways can we support? Because through Madam CJ Walker's life, I kind of wrote down some things that I think she did, which empowered the women around her to be successful.
I mean, I think one of the things is to give women, create the environment for women to think about what their why is, to get clarity about it, because that's something women oftentimes struggle with, is to get clear about what they really want. And like you said, I love that quote, because if you're that clear, if you're that invested in your why, then nothing will stop you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. There is no chance, no fate, no destiny that can circumvent or hinder or control the firm resolve of a determined soul. I love that. Thanks so much. How do we help women understand their why? What's the first step to understanding our why? Because I feel like as women, we're pulled in so many different directions. How do we center ourselves and allow our why to be forefront instead of kind of pushed to the back?
Well, I think it's creating the space. It's creating a retreat for women, a way to retreat away from your life. So I think that is critical. I think a focus on identifying your values is a good place to start as well, to start that whole conversation of digging in of what's really important and unique to you. So I think those two things, I mean, I think by, creating a space where women can put aside everything else that's on their plate for a while to simply focus on themselves and create a community that is supportive of that. So that not only after one identifies what their why is, what their values are, what their mission is, then to have a supportive community that you can keep getting lifted up. Because it's not enough to figure it out. It's like going to Humans Being More and getting all this clarity. You know, we have this wonderful time at the retreat, but if we don't keep that support up, then it's very easy to go back into the busyness and chaos of our lives.
Absolutely, that's true. And I want to talk a little bit about accountability as well with that support. Maggie?
Yeah, I really like what you said, Sherry, about the importance of a community that continues to support women, people in general, but women, if we're talking about women. And I think that for me, the key is the beingness that we bring to what we're offering. If we don't exude that kind of joy and aliveness and excitement and commitment to our own vision, how can we expect other people to create one for themselves? I mean, I think that the vision is the big thing, and we are in a world that doesn't really, talk about that or support that. But to have a gathering or even one-on-one where you ask people, question, you share your enthusiasm, your story, that's the beginning. And that has to be just a short introduction, and then focusing on them. What is it that you want in your life? And that why conversation that Michael talks about is the key to start people opening up their own dreams. And then there has to be continued support to grow that, and skill training and all the things that we do. So it's starts with us, and it starts with our why, sharing that why and helping other people to create their own and encouraging them to move forward with that.
I love that, Maggie. I think that's so true. We can inspire people to start questioning their why. Sometimes it's just seeing what we're doing and what we're achieving that actually makes people stop a little and go, okay, what am I doing, and what is my why? Why am I trying to achieve it? And I just want to second Gloria's comment. Thanks, Leo, for being here. I know we're focusing on women, and I'm doing that today because I was so inspired by Madam Walker, and I just really wanted to share. But obviously, this is applicable to any business builders. But we have 98% women on these calls generally, so I wanted to make it a little bit more. So I appreciate Leo being here. Sue, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I mean, how many years ago has it been? Discover your why, figure out what your why is. I mean, for me, it was like analysis paralysis. It was so daunting to me, and I was afraid to do anything, say anything, because I didn't know what my why was. So until I just decided, this is my why right now. This is why I want to do this. And over the years, I mean, my why has changed.
Yep.
And it's developed, and it's turned into so much more than what I started with or why I started. So I think helping people just go with where you're at. Why are you interested in this? It's going to change over time. It's going to develop. And I mean, it's probably, and I don't know to this day if I still really know what my why is. I know whatever it is, it's so powerful that it just keeps, you just get up every day and you continue on. But that question, what is your why? It's such a daunting.
I love that you shared that, Sue. I think it's so true. That at different seasons of our life, our why will be different. And sometimes it won't be a why. Sometimes it'll be a who. Who is our why? Who is what we're doing? And for me, I've had years of my life where it's all been my children. It's who. And my why has ever changed from them as to what they need. And, and sometimes it's a who. And so I really think that's true. And I don't think we should beat ourselves up when our why changes, because we change, we grow as people, and so our why will change as we develop and grow. And I'm sure Madam Walker, her original why was probably she had these terrible hair scalp ailments that she couldn't figure out. I'm sure that originally was her why. And then as it developed, her why became her community, other people around her, what she could do for them. And so our why will change and grow and expand, and it should. And thank you so much for sharing all your comments. They're awesome. I'm making notes myself on all of the comments that people are making. I just want to close with some of the support systems that we can offer to other business owners in empowering women and empowering men, any business leaders. There's different supports. We can offer emotional support, instrumental support, informational support, and then accountability support. And Sherry kind of touched a little bit on that. When we gain our why, it's not going to be an end there. Once we understand our why, we're going to need support, and we need to support others through that whole process, emotionally, instrumentally, informationally, and then accountability. We all need that accountability to stay on track and make sure that we're doing what we said that we're going to do, because it's so easy to get lost in the busyness of life that we lose sight of our goals and our why. But I'm going to send all these links up, because this lady, Madam Walker story, has just inspired me this week, and it's something that we can all learn from and grow from and share with others as to what we can become when we really set our minds to it and we're determined to achieve it. We can achieve it. So thank you everyone for being on the call today. I will send those links out, and I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you,
Very
Kim.
inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.